All right, here we go. Devastating day here after flawless trading for about 85% of the day on stock PTIX and then later APM. Devastating day here, down 900 bucks, down 1K. Pastor, how did you go from having a nice day to being down 1K? Forget the charts, forget anything. We're going straight to the archives. So, as usual, the day started off, checked out the scans, saw what was moving up, got the top three stocks, the usual, right? The usual volume, everything like that we look for. AM, APM, and PTIX were the top two stocks. All right. APM a little slow to start, as you guys will see. And on the other screen, I'm already looking at PTIX just to see what it wants to do here early. And eventually we're going to pull it up here as we're going to recognize like, hey, this other one here looks a little bit better and might be a little bit stronger. So let's skip ahead here 30 seconds. Here we are, PTIX. We're going to pull it up. And as we can see, initially it started off a little choppy. It got through the VWAP 380s and then pushed up with a nice big spike up to 4 and then breaking over 4 to 449. So let's see. My first trade, if we look at the log right here, came at 936, which, is essentially on the last green candle. So we're somewhat a little late to it, but that's fine. We're only 2 candles in off the last breakout. So we did everything in terms of adjustments that we needed to make from our recap yesterday, right? Written down, we had to be more reactive, pay more attention at the lows, throw out your smaller share size in terms of the starter position, be very quick to try to add something to it if we are bottoming out, basing out, and then try to get that curl back up. On top of that, we had trade the range with confidence. If you determine that the stock is a range bound stock, if it is a stock that we can hyper scalp, then be aggressive towards the quick trades. So here we go, right? Here we go. Highs are at 450. We got lows somewhere here around 415 or so. So we're in, and we're in fairly close. I think this is a pretty good trade here to start. We're gonna skip ahead a little bit to just to see how it plays out. So let's see, we're in at 21. And this was okay. I think that earlier in the live stream I did say this. We had some selling pressure and I paper hands a little bit. This is on me here. I paper hands a little bit and I sold half right here at 20 break even to reduce my risk. And this is something that I've been doing to try to add back lower in the move. But at the same time, got to remember, at the end of the day, my stop right here was about 10 cents max. There is no selling half to get back in more lower. Like, it's almost like greed at that point, right? Like, if my stop is just 10 cents and high of days like 30, 40 cents away where we have that 2, 3 to 1, if anything, I should just add to this position and be more aggressive if it goes lower, but it's also in the range of what I'm trying to do, right? So right here, if we come back, instead of selling early, we should have held. And if we needed to add, just add, right? Because at the end of the day, 1,300 shares in the grand scheme of things is a small position right there. There's the half sell. And of course, the moment I'm selling the half, we're getting the move, right? Which is to show me that I needed to be patient in the trade, right? So rightfully so. And let's see. So 35, high of days is at 50. I think I'm looking at mid 30 here at least to take off some. We get 35, which was good. And I think we're going to sell a little bit more up at 30, 35 area again. Let's just skip ahead here. We sold 33. And we were holding a little, we sold 40 and then 33, and we're holding a little bit more just to see what it does if it gets through 50. But it came back down, and it came back down aggressively. So what was a great position initially turned out to be a slightly botched trade because we sold half early and the stock ended up coming down here with some aggression. Initially, I'm looking at this pullback and I'm saying to myself, are we still bullish? Are we still strong? I take a glance over to the 5-minute chart and I do come to the conclusion that, hey, despite dropping down there to about 397 or so, this thing still looks bullish. And I jumped back in. I jumped back in with a starter at 410, 411. I got a bit of a higher fill, 414 actually. And then I added at 08. And then, you know, the ad looks like it went all the way up to 12. So my average here, 411. And my stop is below the level here at 4. This trade I do think is a little bit more risky because if we look at the exact bottom of this wick towards VWAP, it was showing 93, although I think we had a low of 97 or so. We can double check on this candle. Let's just double check. Bro, I can't believe this. Like, this is just madness. Let's look at the drop down here. And I got to be quicker to cut those trades. I think I saw 96. I got to be quicker to cut this trade in between like 15 and 20 here, I think. 93. It actually came all the way down to 93. So the bounce is very instant. We get to 405. So, you know, this trade here in itself, I don't love because of how high I'm in. I'd rather be in like towards 4. But nevertheless, we gave it a shot with smaller size. It does bounce. I think it bounces back to... I think we got up to... I added again here at 406. It gets up to 425, I believe. And it turns out to be a decent trade. But again, we could have been in a little lower. Right? Okay, decent trade. We finally get ourselves on the scoreboard here after botching the first pullback here and kind of coming to the stock a little late. Okay, better late than never, right? Working the range, being patient with the trade, letting the stock do its thing. There was a missed opportunity here as we pushed up to 37. I don't think we added back in this area of mid-teens as we held up a little bit. The 5-minute candle at the time was looking pretty decent, you know, so I think it could have been worth a shot. Instead, we're just still holding that smaller size from down there at, what was that, 410. But this is how nicely this 5-minute setup worked out. Granted, it was one and done. One and done meaning like once this big red candle flushed out, we didn't really like go sideways or make a new low. It just, you know, straight back up, right? So, you know, it ends up being a good trade. Although, you know, our size is not the best here into the follow through as we're scaling out and you know, our initial position was small to begin with. We get a high of 70. We're going to take a dip here at low 50s, high 40s. And this is going to also turn out to be a good trade. But notice again, my share size, right? Just small size, couple hundred shares. Very, at this point, it's obvious that the stock has proven that it's strong. And we really and truly needed to have size at this point here. If not already, right here, we needed to have size moving forward to properly capitalize and you know, get something out of the move. This is going to be my biggest hindrance today is size, right? Because with all these great trades that we're going to get and continue to get, our size is so small that eventually when we do size up and we take a couple of losses, just a few losses are going to wipe out all these great trades that we had. And that's where the frustration came here today for me. Right? And we're going to also talk about those other trades where we took losses to see what we can do better. And I'm guessing already that cutting the trade faster would have been one of the keys, right? So 66, we're in at 46. We're currently around 66. And let's see, it ends up going all the way to 80. So we're scaling out at 64, 66, 87, 81. with the smaller size there. And I think it might have been later in the move, but let's see. Did we get that pullback, or the pullback ended up coming late? I think we're going to try right here on the live stream. We mentioned we need to be careful not trying to scalp the highs too aggressively. We tried a small position. It didn't go. But I think at this time I was aware that I needed to put a little bit more size. So knowing that this was a higher risk area, we did use just small size, which I think was a good awareness. But however, it's a trade we probably shouldn't take at all at 508, right? Because it's just too extended. Let's see. This dip we missed. This one we came down to 585. We weren't aggressive to jump in here, 81, 85 area. It's quick to get back to 5. And this was a missed opportunity. This was definitely a missed opportunity. And, you know, again, being reactive, right? So sometimes for me, I keep making this mistake where it's a mental mistake of, man, this thing just went all the way from 420 up to 511. There's no way we're going to hold up 585 or 485, 480s. It'll probably pull back a little bit more. So be on your P's and Q's. But even if that's the case, I should at least be throwing out the starter. But again, you know, it's a bit of a conflict of interest, right? To stay reactive versus like expectations based off of how the stock has been moving. Because at the end of the day, it's unfair to have the expectation because nobody knows, right? Whilst I'm thinking we're extended and we can see a pullback, in reality, the stock could just keep going to 550, 6, 7 without even a red candle. And if that happens, then what am I going to do if I don't take the entries that are provided in front of me, right? So got to at least try a trade there, 490, 485, anywhere in that range where it seems like we might be curling up just to give it a chance. And this goes all the way to 520, I think. Did we? Yeah, we got to 520, and then it pulled back. So let's skip ahead some more. We traded, and so we're back in the range here. We start taking some more trades, and you know it's a good trade here. Although again, the size could have been higher. So this time we're in at 82, 88, 87, and out at 97, 97, 96, and still holding a small position. We sold more at 12 and 14, and this is a great trade, right? 82. Our average was about 84, and we're selling up there at 97, 512. I mean, it's a great trade. Just the size is the key right here. So we're now up to $600, which is really great. But we need it to be a little bit more aggressive already. And I think this is another thing that's going to get me here on this day is that we're right at the 200 EMA, and stock APM is going to start to move. And so I'm going to look away to see if this one, you know, is on to something. We had a bit of a double top here at 520, which I didn't love. And it's going to break down below, 480s. And so we're now in that like 5-minute pullback kind of place. And I'm like, okay, take a step back, be patient, and we'll see how this thing goes. I think it rejects again here. Over 90, we took the trade just to see what it does. Let's see. I think we ended up having a loss somewhere. Let's go back. So our last entry was 501. We're a little slow to react here. We probably should have been in back over 80. Where did we get in? We got in at 89. We sold at 98. Again, smaller size. And the trade here at 95 is going to be a loss, I think. Trying to get the break of 5. So this ended up reclaiming, which we haven't really been seeing. So even 90, you know, it's a little high, a little bit more high than I'd like. Let's see. So we had a high of 505. It dipped down again. Our average here a little higher, though, as we're in at 88. And I think we're looking for new highs here, potentially, or a retest of highs of 520. It's a tough one. I mean, it goes from 511, and this is where it can be tricky, right? So I think this is fair because we're trying to give it that chance to break out. So we didn't take the profits at 505, 510. We have the starter position. We tried to add a little lower, didn't really get a great fill. We're in at 90. And then there's 80. It's back to 97 very quickly there. That's like almost in 1 second. It's up, which is really good to see, actually. And so with this type of volume, you know, I'm thinking like, yeah, we're going to see a retest of 520. I didn't sell anything. This trade comes right back down on me. And these are solid trades, right? I mean, maybe, you know, am I holding it too long without taking something? I'm in at 88 average, and we're at 506. From 90 to 06 is 16 cents. So that's 18 cents unrealized. Maybe it's a little too much to leave on the table here, you know? Maybe I got to take half in these situations despite expecting maybe to see that push to highs. Didn't sell anything, and then it comes back down so quickly that I'm like, whoa, okay, we can hold 80s, mid 80s, high 80s again, but I sold half just to, like, you know, be careful here. And look at that, right down. So right here, I'm like, yeah, it might be finished for sure. APM actually was halted up with a massive green candle. So all things considered, you know, there's a few missed opportunities, maybe 2 missed opportunities, and a fumble early where we sold that position, that half a position early. But all in all, you know, good trading. We needed to put more size, right? Nothing really terrible to say, hey, we made some really terrible mistakes. It's been a while since we've just traded archives, right? So you know it's getting real. APM, I'm going to trade on Thinkorswim for 24 bucks, only just 300 shares in the position because honestly, I just had no idea what to expect there. Am I trading too soft, guys? You know, yesterday I was telling myself trade a rehab because we lost money off the top in our Guardian account. Again, after 2 successful trader rehabs, we lost money off the top of our accounts again. So I'm like, smaller size. Is this like conflict of interest, it seems, you know? Where the stock is good, I think we just gotta go for it a little bit more aggressively. Doesn't mean go crazy 10, 20, 30K size, anything mad. But gotta put a little bit more meat to the bone, you know? So APM comes. I think we don't really get to see much out of this one. It gives the massive move into the halt up, and then it was a little slow, I think. Let's see, highs were at 29. We pulled back to 97. We took a small trade again on Schwab, it looks like. 300 shares. Okay, we took 05. And it bounced up a little bit here. 15. There's 10 cents. We hit the market order out for a small trade. Disaster. Let's skip ahead to the disaster here. APM, I think we took a small loss somewhere, right? But let's skip ahead to where the disaster is going to come, because at this point, it's still a decent day. So in looking at APM, I come back. When I left, the stock was over here at like 515, 510, somewhere around this range. Maybe even a little lower. Actually, maybe lower on this pullback. So here's another issue, right? Like, when I left, it was right here. Before, we had this similar breakdown, and the stock curled back up. Opportunity cost, man. And sometimes you got to be quick to realize, okay, maybe the other stock is no good despite that big halt up. Let's switch back. Because now I'm coming back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes later, whatever. Even if I left here, wherever I left, I'm coming back, and we've had action. We've had a massive move to 30, a pullback, a high consolidation, and then a breakout here on a 3-bar play. These are all setups. Granted that we are below the 200 EMA. maybe there was a sign there if you're watching at the level 2 to jump in, right? So we're now showing up and we got a high of 575 and maybe 200 EMA, right? And this is where I think my luck, my skill, my discipline and everything on the day is going to be tested. So I'm on the live stream, I'm saying, hopefully we can get a pullback. Hopefully we can get a pullback. And I kid you guys not, I look away from my level 2 to the chart or something I do. I look at something in the time. And look at this drop that's going to come right here. This thing is going to flush down. Or was it this red candle? It might have even been this red candle, actually. Hold up. When did I switch back? You know what? It was on the other screen. Look at, so you see how I'm in on this like small, yeah. It's on the other screen. There was a dip on that red candle that came right here. So I finally pulled it back up. On this red candle, it dips down to the 200 EMA to the penny, man. To the freaking penny. So I'm watching it on my other monitor, and I look away in the freaking moment, and I missed this pull. This was my last chance right here to be in nicely, man, and I missed it. So let's see. Let's skip ahead. It bounced up. It makes a new high. This trade at 35.40 entry. If I even if I only got 1,200 shares. It would have been a great trade as we got to highs of 88. We could have scaled out nicely. Instead, the stock has made a whole new leg and we've made no progress. And we're here waiting for another pullback, waiting for another pullback, waiting for another pullback, waiting for another pullback, waiting. And finally, it starts to pull back. We take our starter at 80. We try to add here. And this is what we were supposed to do, right? Hey, if we're looking like we're going to base out properly, try to get the ad. And look at how fast it's up, right? I mean, trying to get it at 83 area. I'm kind of filled at 90, which is a little tough, but you know, part of the deal, right? Especially if we're going to continue to be strong here, this is fine. And this is where I'm kind of like caught in a bad position here, right? Because in my mind, it's like I know I should have been in around like 83. And so sometimes you can see the stock come down a couple cents more, reclaim. I think right here I'm going to get blazed. I think this is my first trade where I got blazed here. Let's skip ahead. Did I get blazed? And so I stopped out 76 and it held. So I'm going to consider that blazed because what is that, like 10, what was that, 14 cents? And again, I knew I needed to use size a while ago. I'm finally trying to get around to size. And this is kind of how, it's transpiring. This is how it's playing out. Let's skip ahead some more. So now we take a bit of a smaller position this time at mid 70s. Let's see if we get back over 90, 95. Nope, we do not. This is where I'm going to take my first big loss, or second big loss, if you want to say. So again, APM came back, missed this sweet dip, and this was instant bounce. Waiting for a pullback here, waiting for a pullback. I only have small size at 50 because I'm not comfortable buying it with size because we just had a low 30 in the range. I took like 50 on like somewhere here or something like that. Or maybe on this red candle, but higher up on the bounce already. Right? It goes to 620. We make new highs. Okay, can we get a pullback? And, the question is, are we gearing up for a bigger 5-minute flush? Or will we be able to see a bit of a 1-minute consolidation where I have these yellow lines and then are retested at highs? That's essentially what I'm aiming for right here. And we had the trade where we tried to get it at 80. I kind of get the high fills. Now we sold for a loss. We take it a little lower, 77. And again, another place where let's see if maybe I could have stopped out quicker. We break down, but below, I think the low was 73. And we're seeing massive red on the tape. I think right here is a place where maybe I needed to cut it faster. Needed to cut it faster here. And look at that, man. Indeed, it is right, because when my stop here is 70, I'm now stopping out at 55. 55. And I think right here I'm a little dazed. Like, frustration is kicking in because I'm just like, there's no way I just traded this thing fairly well. Yeah, we had maybe a few small things along the way we could have done better. And here I am in the freaking depths. Right here, I got a little triggered on the day. I'm like, bro, there's no way. I'm like, okay, the 1 minute consolidation is breaking down. Time to watch the 5 minute pullback. Where's our next obvious support? And this is why you can't get flustered, right? Because let's bring up the drawing tool. This is why we can't get flustered, because you got to thinking clearly. You got to be thinking clearly at all times. If this zone is going to fail here, what is the next obvious zone, right? We got the 200 EMA. We got high of day. The stock could come down anywhere in between here or even as low as here. Even if you want to count the entire thing as the range, right? So 33, and you got to always account for the stock overshooting the landing zone. This is why I'm saying that if I trade the strategy perfectly to how the strategy is supposed to be traded, I wouldn't have any issues, even in this setup that's about to happen here. This is what the strategy tells me, right? If I'm thinking clearly, where are your next potential support levels? What is this, about 5? Oh, is this high of day here about 520? I think 520. And then we had 530. For how I trade, I should always be aiming for the lower side of support. Always. If I want to take the higher side of support, I need to be in with a starter size, baby size, and looking to add slowly throughout the move. So what's going to happen right here is an execution problem, right? It's going to flush out again. And first thing first, I'm going to be very slow to react because of the frustration. Look at this. Hold up. Bro, this stuff is like textbook one. It's like ABCD 101. Like, if you just freaking trade the strategy purely without making mistakes, like this freaking, you're going to be printing green. You're going to be printing green if you trade the strategy clean. And that's the issue I'm having right now, is not trading the strategy clean. So let's look at this trade, this flush out here, right? If I want to take my first position, let's see how low it goes. $28. We got 28. Look at how slow I am to buy. Oh my God. Ay, 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 ay. And I take the starter. Man, frustration. I take the starter, which is okay. What is the next step in execution? I got to be watching at this thing for the lower end of support and being very patient with that. Right? You see, wrong already. I take on more size at 40. Wrong already. Wrong. I need to be waiting for the lower side of support. We had a low of 27. I need to be waiting for mid-20s if I'm going to add an adequate size. Just think about the difference between 25 and 40, or 43 actually. Way too much sense. Way too wide of a stop to feel comfortable, because what if it actually comes down to 15 or 10? Now, if I'm in at mid-20s, low 20s, you know, what that does is it gives me room for my stop. Let's say I'm risking 20 cents. It gives me room to actually hold down there to like 508, 510, maybe even 505. and still get a chance for this thing to curl up, even if it ends up holding all the way down to the whole dollar, for a move back to 550 and 580, and if it's strong, a retest of 620. 620 is going to be the target in any trade like this. Even if it doesn't get there, that's the target, right? It doesn't need to get there as long as the ratios are making sense. And what do? I get in high and out where I should be buying. Right here is where I should be freaking buying. And let's just fast forward to just see how much it bounced, right? How let's take a guess. How much did this stock bounce? We had a low of about 520, 525. And this is not just hindsight, right? Because we got to ask ourselves, where is support? Where's support? There's only two places where support could be if this is going to be strong. And it is obvious when you look at the chart. Where did we last have resistance? 520, 530. Clear as day here. It's so clear that there was a triple top at 520, and so clear as day that there's a freaking 533 freaking trend line to remind us that there's daily resistance there. If anything, I should be buying between 20 and 30, which is exactly coincidentally with freaking air quotes where the stock bottoms out, right? You see if you trade the strategy, how you'll be making money. Not fumbling the freaking strategy like some rookie trader or something. Bro, I'm like mad right now, man. Like, this is insane. So it comes back down to 20. You know, unless it makes a new low, you can stop out. If it holds here, you know, this is where we'd want to see the bounce, of course. If it breaks down, got to cut the trade at your stop. Hey, if you're risking 15 cents below your entry, 20 cents below your entry, whatever you feel comfortable to give it a chance, right? Other than that, it's a matter of just holding this thing to give it a chance to curl back up. It comes down, okay, stop out of the trade. All good in the neighborhood. And this is a good 5-minute setup for me. Any day, all day. It's the execution that matters. Even if I'm in at 25 average here and I'm stopped out at 510, losing 15 cents. Not the nonsense of in at 40 and all this garbage. Right? It ends up, I think it came down some more. Did it curl up or did it come down? It's hard to remember here. What was the low of that last candle? 08. I mean, it would have been close, right? I mean, it would have really came down to your stop. But I don't know if we ever got up to a 2. If I'm holding at 25, I need to see more than a 1-to-1, right? If I'm holding at 25 and my stop is 510, I could have gotten stopped out there with a 15-cent stop. Because if I'm buying support, we shouldn't really be pulling back that much low below support, right? At that point, the stock is failing. If I'm risking 15 cents, can I make at least 30 cents? What's that? 35, 45. We need to see at least like 50, 55 for it to look good. We got 60, but it would have been close because in terms of like executing it properly, it would have been close if my stop was too tight. I could have gotten stopped out. It's like 50-50 if I would have held that a little longer. And the risk of holding a trade like this longer is that it can flush out, right? But as we can see here, execution on the 5-minute setup, no good. Resulted into more losses. And then I can't even remember where the other loss came. Let's see. It curled back up. Bro, I tell you. So this I mean, it would have been close, but still we should have been able to at least execute that trade way better. And it comes back down. And this is where I rage quit, because rage quit like I'm playing a video game. Because I take the 1-minute dip here. Let's see. We got to a high of 6. I'm going to take the 1-minute dip. Where did this position start? Okay, was that like a small add back at 49? Let's see. When it took off, I think we took break of 50 a couple times. Yeah, we took break of 50 a couple times to, you know, kind of to try and catch a trade there. And then it's going to go to $6 and we're going to take a dip off of 6 and we're going to get absolutely obliterated. So this is the first 1 minute pullback. Looking to take this dip here and then watch for the curl back up, right? We get a massive 1 minute pullback. The 5 minute chart still looks okay. And it's like finally we get a good pullback, and this pullback turns out to be the absolute depths. It goes down to 480 here, which is just I you know, did not see that happening. Let's see. We take the starter. Did we take a starter 70s? We took a starter, or we took a starter 78. It comes down to 60. We add aggressively here. We're in nicely. It's 65, 68. The low of the candle is 60. And right now, I'm watching to see for the curl back up to 90. We got right there 78, which wasn't bad for an immediate bounce, but... Or 75 maybe? How high did we go? 75? About 75 quickly, briefly. And right here, you know, I was saying, like, if this setup here doesn't hold, then I'm going to be done on the day. The 5 minute candlestick is still holding up. We had a nice, beautiful curl. And this thing ended up flushing down. Tough area here. But nevertheless, if we're using this type of size or more, in a lot of those earlier trades, the day, even with some of these losses, like the day is a successful day, even if we give back off the top. So we take a massive loss here. By the way, oh shoot, what I did too, I sold half. I think I sold half and added back. I think a little too much conviction. A little too much conviction that this setup was strong. So I realized, okay, there's some weakness. I'm going to sell half and add back. It's going to happen somewhere here. Skip ahead one more. So, hold on, let's go back a little bit. 65. Hold up. I thought I sold half here. Let me see. Okay. The ad came 57. Okay, I see. Yeah, so we sold half. I didn't sell the entire thing because of like just too much conviction in the stock here. So because we had a good pullback, at least I thought it was a good pullback at the time. My average is 65, 67. I felt good and didn't want to sell the entire position to try to buy back lower. Instead, I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to add at above 50 here, wherever we base out. And so I added. I got a little higher fill, but fine. But that was not the bottom. This thing is going to come down to 480. So right here, I had no choice but to stop out. And if we fast forward some more, it just kept dropping. 520, $5. That drop there is hard to avoid. This drop, like this because in that last drop, nothing indicated the drop would be this, you know, mad like that. Like there's nothing saying we should drop that much there. All the context, all the chart, all the volume, everything. Worst case scenario, 530 again, you know. But from 6, we just sold off, and I got blazed coming down. So the day was pretty top heavy with size, and early when we needed to be a little bit more aggressive, we weren't. Terrible, terrible. We want to be aggressive and easing off later into the day, not a little too soft and then, you know, aggressive late. Overall, I'd say that it was good trading, and then we made some mistakes towards the end, and mistakes causes you to lose money. execution problems on that 5-minute setup, even if I'd gotten stopped out at 510. I want to see myself executing that trade properly. That's the key. So initially in the live stream, I said, I'm not going to take 5-minute setups. I'm reviewing here. The key is to execute properly on the 5-minute setups. And to make matters worse, we started trading APM. This is where my mic was muted on the stream. So at the time my chart is up on E-Trade, and I'm like looking at my level 2 and like I'm taking some small trades, getting into a good rhythm, and then I start to say, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it with some size, and we start to see some good trades. And then so we took the loss from down wherever we were, you know, we're making, I think we made 200 off the lows, and then we're gonna take a massive loss here. Let's skip ahead. I think we got back to green. I think we got up to $100. Did we? And then, bro, I'm right. So right here, I got up to like $100. And then this disaster of a trade is about to come, right? Look at this trade here. First thing first, because it's at 50. I'm looking for a breakout trade, right? And it's for the longest, you can see like I'm in 47, out 50, like trying to get that breakout, and it's not really going, and being quick so I don't get caught into the drop. And look at this right here. This is going to be tough. I'm going to try it. I get filled. Did I go in? No, I didn't jump in there. Hold up. Holy smokes. We needed to be in 45 right there. I think I'm going to take it right here. And this is a problem because I'm going to be out too soon. Right here, I'm in. And I'm looking for a break at 50, but I'm going to be out too soon. 52 exit. Far too soon. This is pretty tragic right here. It gets to 60, it gets to 70. I don't know what happened here. Like, you know, was I a little too jumpy with the trade? I don't know. You know, this like, bro, this is like madness. Like, I'm telling you, if this trade here is executed properly, I'm in at 45 wherever I'm in or wherever I was in, and in worst case, I'm out at like 60, 62, 64, heck, even 58, 10 for 10 cents. Instead, I'm out for 3 cents on a 20-cent freaking breakout. And so and here's where I'm gonna really rage quit for real. I'm gonna watch for this dip right here. Right here, I'm gonna try to buy it high 50s, and I get filled 66. And then to make matters worse, instead of me being able to get a break-even trade, look at this. Stock is at 49 with a big seller. Bro. This is day trading though, you know. It's always close, and it's why we gotta execute. The best in the world struggling like this, man. This is child's play. A B C D 1 2 3. What is wrong with me? I should be green massively here on this day. Instead, I'm red 1K. Do I have a problem here? Do I have a problem? I've never experienced this level of madness and misfortune and just nonsense. And I'm creating my own misfortune. It's not no invisible force, or it's poor execution, man. Poor execution is what it is. So, you know, reviewing these videos like this, it's pretty good. It's refreshing. You know, as we know, there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, but to face it, and to make notes and to be better for the next day. So I need to rewatch this archive again after the gym. Got to rewatch this archive again and just be ready for tomorrow, man, because it's going to be a fresh slate. We're going to get a new chance, a new day, a new opportunity to be better. And we have to channel all of our energy and our focus towards all the correct things and executing properly in our trading. We're not as scalpy, but we don't really need to be as scalpy as long as we're executing the trades properly. That's the key right there. As we mentioned yesterday, right? Working the range, being in, having tight stops, respecting the levels, having diamond hands unless we get stopped out. All these key things, which will give us a chance at being better for the next day. Nothing more, nothing less. Big, long recap here to go through the details. Guys, at the very least, hit that thumbs up. Nobody else is doing this. Nobody else is showing the good, the bad, the in-between. Doing it live. Because I'm not, no, you know what? We are here. This is why we're the people's champion. It's because we're relentless and we will get past this nonsense and be a better version of ourselves. Be more refined. I can already see the days of us being up nicely, consistently, regularly, flying, sailing, the wind to our backs. If not me, who? If not now, when? There's no mountain too tall, there's no wall too high. This is my destiny, to be great, to improve, to be better, which is why I will always show up. I'll have to die to not show up here and try to be better every single day. All right? And that's how I know I'll get back to the other side and be where I belong, in the ranks of greatness. And hopefully this talking isn't too aggressive for some people. You know, deep down, we got to be a winner, man. Deep down, we got to be confident against all odds. We're in a field where they say 9 out of 10 traders fail. 3 out of 5 small businesses fail in 3 years' time. We got to have unrelenting and unbendable confidence in ourselves to be better. If I can stand here and say, hey, there's no way I can be better, I need to quit right here, right now, not even show up again, ever. But the moment you can have that confidence and the willingness to work to improve, that's how you know you can stick around and keep trying to be better and keep trading, and you will be better. If you've ever been able to be better at one thing in your life, you can be better at trading. It can be sports, reading books, it can be writing articles. I mean, you know, whatever comes to mind, right? Cooking, all these different things. If you've been able to be better at anything, you can be better at trading. Let's continue to chase down our greatness. Let's continue to look to be better. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel.